And we're back. This is episode 35 of the Tap Room, and I'm your host, Mike. I have a fun one today. I got to talk to Brian Wilder from Drinking Buddy, co-founder of Drinking Buddy. And if you go to drinkingbuddy.com, you can get 20% off using the promo code TAPROOM. It's pretty awesome. You get to take that. I wish I would have taken it yesterday. But do you take it after your last drink, and then you will avoid the hangover on Sunday morning, or if you're drinking Saturday or whichever day you're drinking. So definitely check that out. But yeah, we had a good time. Got to hear how he started the business, kind of what it's like, starting your own company and also having a full-time job as well, doing something else. So kind of, guiding his way through that. We talked some about beer, different cocktails, and what it took for him to start that business. Before I drink my beer today, I'm gonna go ahead and go crack one open in a second. But I did want to talk about, give a shout out to Lake Brew Review on Instagram. Pretty cool. He's always, liking all the stuff and, comments and stuff like that. So much appreciated. So shout out to Lake Brew Review. If you want to follow the podcast on Instagram, you can follow that at the Taproom Podcast on IG. All right. Well, let's crack a beer open here. Let's see, what do I have today? I actually had a couple of these the other day. But this first one is, this one's from, so it's Dog Days, 6%. It's a IPA, but it's awesome. It has a bunch of dogs on it. It's brewed with Citra, Mosaic, and Strata. And it's also a collaboration with Artifacts. So let me go ahead and crack her open here. Let's pour her out. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Okay. First off, I wanted to say for this one, I had it the other day and it was freaking delicious, but let me jump in and give it a little rating there, eh? Oh yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Definitely getting the Citra and Mosaic there. Definitely citrusy notes, fruity notes to it. It's a really, it's pretty crispy too. It's got some good stuff. It got some good stuff going on it. It has a lot going for it. I want to give this one, I can definitely crush a bunch of these. I feel like I could have, I bought, was it 2 or 3 of them the other day? Had 2 the other day, saved 1 for the show. But I would definitely give it, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. I'm trying to remember what I rated it on the, when I posted it the other day, but I would say give it a, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. Because it's really good. Honestly, Second Chance is so cool too, what they do for dogs and stuff like that. Because it's always, I think they had a shirt in the brewery where it says, dogs first, people second. So it's a pretty awesome thing that they have. And also what they're doing. So I guess with this beer, exactly what they're doing. Sorry, I'm having a hard time thinking today. They had, donations go to rescues, so stuff like that. So, it's a really cool cause. So check it out. If you have a chance to pick up one of their beers, Artifacts is awesome. Second Chance is awesome. Can't go wrong with it. Had a fun weekend though. Long weekend. Friday, went out to Noble, hung out with them for a little bit, got to hang out with Jimmy, Josh, and a few of the other people over there. Got to meet a beer sommelier, so it was pretty awesome. We got to, talk beer, and we were actually going to be setting something up, but we're both so busy, so it might not be until maybe January. But it should be fun. Looking forward to that. Then after that, my sister came down, Kyla came down, we got to... after Noble, we hung out over at Brewery X. Hung out there, got to talk with Greg, one of the brewers there. Still trying to get Trevor Walls on the show, trying to figure out a date. We can get all that stuff going. But yeah, I got to talk to Greg. Awesome dude. Got to try one off the Try Beer off the line for one of Jake's new can artworks that he did. I will, not going to rate it yet, but once I actually get one, we'll do one on the show. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah. The Braves lost. To the Phillies. Fantastic. Man, I knew it. I mean, I've been saying it for a while now. The Phillies scared me. I was worried about them. But, it is what it is. That's postseason baseball. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, to quote Bruce Almighty. I think that's the way it was. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, they lost. Dodgers lost surprisingly, to the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks kind of had that mentality where they were like, especially when everybody was talking about the reseeding and stuff like that. They kind of went out there and were just like, oh yeah, kind of like showing the world like, hey, yeah, you can't keep us down. So they did a really good. I mean, good for the Diamondbacks, good for the Phillies. Astros are playing the Rangers today, so that should be a good one. I feel like that's gonna be a really good series. I feel like not the Diamondbacks, sorry, the Rangers are hot right now. They're steamrolling everybody. It seemed like, so that should be a really good series with Houston. I think the Phillies are gonna win in the National League, and I want to say the Astros because of Nav, but I think it's gonna be the Rangers. So I'm thinking it could be Phillies, Texas, World Series. We'll see what happens though. What else happened this week? Oh yeah, SC got railroaded by Notre Dame. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, saw that coming. I mean, congrats to Notre Dame on winning. I really didn't see SC beating them, or going into South Bend and winning that game. Even when I saw the spread, I saw it was like what it opened at 3, I think, or maybe 2.5. Yeah, was not really seeing where they were getting that number, but yeah, I mean, Caleb, I think, had 3 picks. So it was a rough night at the office for Caleb. Obviously, I love my Trojans, but I mean, I'm also going to be realistic in certain things. The defense is not what we thought it was going to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody thought the offense would be better. Clearly, it's not. Something's got to change. I mean, I was really the advocate for Alex Grinch last year, just trying to say that, maybe because of the weapons he didn't have on defense, but he's just proven to everybody else that he's just bad. I mean, he's just absolute garbage. So apologies for saying that, but honestly, it's the truth. They have too much talent on that team to be playing the way they are. But like I said, congrats to Notre Dame. Who else? What else we had to get yesterday? Yeah, we hung out, we barbecued, made some smash burgers, also made some smash breakfast sandwiches. So I made some smash sausage patties. Those are fire. Also, congrats to Lena and Mario. They got engaged. So congrats, brother. What else? Oregon State beat UCLA. That was actually a pretty good game. I tried to watch as much as I could in that game. The game of the night though was Oregon and Washington. That was a freaking barn burner, and I dropped my phone. Yeah, it was a barn burner. There it was a 33-36. Oregon had every opportunity to win that game, but kudos to Washington. They looked really good. Oregon kind of had a surprising thing at the end of the first half. They had a chance to kick the field goal and make it a 1-point game, but elected to go for a touchdown or to try to score a touchdown. In hindsight, if we're thinking about it, that's a big decision, obviously, for the head coach. And anybody can say after the fact, they're like, oh yeah, let's not go for it. Let's kick the field goal. But I mean, I just feel like in that situation, you have to take the points because those 3 points was the difference in the game. So sometimes, that's the way you roll the dice, and that's just the way they fall sometimes. So it is what it is. SC's got another big game next week. They got Utah. That's going to be a tough one. Even in the Coliseum, I think. I'm going to be interested to see what the spread is. I'll have to take a look at that during the week. One of Mike's picks of the week finally hit. Finally. Let's see here. Now, that was the over on the Colorado game. I think it was at 59.5, and they scored like 89 total, I think, or 88 total, or something like that. Alabama got by 24-21 against Arkansas. That was a really good game. Alabama had been playing a lot better in the second half this year, it felt like, or at least of the last few weeks. But they kind of let Arkansas back into that game because I think it was like 21-6 at halftime or 24-6. Something like that. I'm trying to remember. But it ended up being 24-21. So, yeah, Bama got a little scared there. Michigan won. Was a good one. Kansas and Oklahoma State, I thought was a really good game. Penn State's, I know it was against UMass, but still put up 63 points. A&M, well, Tennessee beats A&M 20-13. Some good college football yesterday. And obviously it was fun hanging out with Kai and, everybody getting together for the SC Notre Dame game, watch them get shellacked. So fun. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it was a good time. And then next week, we have some good games. I know SC is playing Utah. Ooh, Penn State, Ohio State, 9 a.m. Banger. Barn burner of a game. I can't wait to watch that one. That's also Navi's birthday. So happy early birthday to Nav. I think we're going to Whittier Brewing, I think, on Saturday. Tennessee and Alabama. Could be another good one. Looks like Alabama is favored by 9 points. And that Ohio State game, Ohio State's favored by 4.5. Over under total 48.5. That one should be pretty good. Tennessee Bama's over 47.5. Washington State at Oregon. It's got to be that's a 12:30 game. That should be pretty good. And I think, Oregon's got to have a bounce back game that week. Duke and Florida State. That I kind of want to pick Duke in that game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Washington's playing Arizona State, and UCLA is playing Stanford. Oh man. So it looks like another good weekend of college football we got coming up. Hope you guys enjoy this intro, and hope you guys enjoy the interview. I'm gonna shut up now, but stay tuned for the outro.
All right, guys, we are back in the tap room, and I am your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on today. It's Brian Wilder, the co-founder of Drinking Buddy. How's it going today?
Oh, thank you, Mike. It's going great. Good to be chatting with you this afternoon.
Yeah, good to be chatting with you too. And for a little example of what Drinking Buddy is, it's an after drinking aid. So if you've had a few and before you go to sleep, make sure you take a Drinking Buddy and you'll be good to go the next morning. But before we get into it, your Instagram is Drinking Buddy Brand, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we can be found right now on TikTok, Instagram at Drinking Buddy Brand. We're just starting to get into Twitter or X. I'm not sure what people are calling it these days. But at Drinking Buddy Brand, and you can find us on the socials there.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started Drinking Buddy?
Yeah, sure. So I have always been interested in supplements, nootropics, dietary supplements, extracts, things of that nature. My dad actually worked for Coca-Cola for almost 25 years. So when we were growing up, we would go to trade shows with him, little events where there'd be all these booths popped up. And think of it almost as if like going into a 7-Eleven and all these different brands that you'd see there have their booth set up and they're giving out free samples and free swags and free this and free that. And I was always drawn to the supplements sections, whether that's vitamins, pre-workouts, what have you. After my dad worked for Coca-Cola, he actually did a little consulting in the beverage business, and he actually took on a hangover prevention drink company called Resurrection. And this was about 12, 14 years ago. I was still in college at the time, so he was shipping me and my friends cases of the drink, and it was a hit. I tried it. It worked. You felt better the next day after drinking, and it had always been in the back of my mind that there really wasn't a market leader, if you will. There's no when you think of the hangover prevention space, there's no clear brand that stands out there. It's always been in the back of my mind that, I would love to create that type of product. So, long story short, did a lot of research on these different ingredients out there, and we can dive into that a little bit later, but there are quite a few different herbs, extracts, vitamins that you can take that help your body combat some of the negative symptoms of alcohol, but also help your body process and metabolize alcohol. And that's what helps with the next day relief. So, having kind of the inspiration, this is always been something that I've wanted to do the past, almost 15 years now. Start my own company, specifically in the supplement CPG space. And the timing was just right to where, I'm not getting any younger. So time to shit or get off the pot and make this thing happen.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And you started it with your wife, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So she was unable to make this podcast, unfortunately. Maybe we'll have another interview later, and we'll have her on. But
Yeah.
yeah, she and I started this 2 years ago. There was about a year of work that went into branding, securing a web domain, building the website, sourcing materials, finding manufacturers, et cetera, et cetera. And then we actually launched the website about a year ago, and it's been quite the journey working with my wife. She was my girlfriend, and then eventually engaged at the time. We got married in April earlier this year. So between meeting each other 3 years ago, getting engaged, starting a business, it's been quite a whirlwind, that's for sure.
Well, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. We had plenty of drinking buddy at our wedding. It was a 3 day long wedding, and I think it saved everybody.
That's awesome. I mean, that sounds like the perfect thing. Obviously, you having the business and then having a big party. Obviously with the wedding. So
Exactly.
perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when you guys decided to start it, I always kind of wondered, when you're someone starting a business, going from dreaming it up to execution, what was that kind of like?
Right. So again, as I mentioned, I'd always had this idea of starting this type of company. I always had the idea of doing it, and I actually tried. This was probably almost 10 years ago that I tried to start the company myself. Um, and I actually called it something different back then. I was going to call it Plan A, which
Okay.
I thought was like a kind of a
Yeah.
catchy name there.
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't realize until after speaking with my wife that she found the name a little, I don't know if offensive is the right word, but anyway, she wanted to get away from the Plan A name.
Gotcha.
Um, but I, tried to launch the company about 10 years ago. I secured a website. We're hosted on Shopify, which makes things very user friendly. Um, Reached out to folks on Fiverr. I don't know if you're familiar with that site, but
Oh
they
yeah.
help you. Yeah, so it's freelance, not freelance, elance type of company. Um, and unfortunately, 10 years ago, it takes money to make money, and I didn't I didn't have enough dollars and cents in the banks to work with a manufacturer and get the product created. So I was kind of just unfortunately had to shut things down back then. But 2 years ago, again, wanted to get this idea off the ground. So one of the first things we did was, hey, what are we going to call this thing, right? Like Plan
Yeah.
A was obviously offensive, apparently,
Yeah.
so I couldn't use that. So we started brainstorming for a name, seeing what web domains were available. From there, we got to design the packaging. After that, secure a manufacturer. Even before that, come up with our ingredients list, our formula.
Hmm.
A lot went into it, and I tell people all the time, if I was to take a look at every single thing I needed to do at the very beginning of this journey, I'm not sure if I would have taken that first step. You honestly have to just take one bite of the elephant at a time and move ahead bit by bit, because there's a lot that pops up that you weren't expecting, um, and just a lot more work goes into getting something like this started than you would think. 2 years ago, going into your question of what it takes to get something like this going.
Hmm.
First and foremost, you need to have a name, but you can't just have that name. You need to be able to secure the web domain as well. So that was
Of
one of the
course.
first things that we did. After that, coming up with our formula, doing a lot of different research on different supplements and other products out there that help you with recovery from drinking or post drinking. Um, finding a manufacturer, building out our website, working with web design. And then the biggest hurdle, the biggest beast that's never ending is just the marketing piece. Trying to get the name out there. Now that we have a viable, working product, marketing has been the biggest animal. Trying to figure out how we get ourselves out there on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. There's all these different outlets that to try and promote yourself, and it's tough. It's tough. Marketing is a very tough game.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's tough to even just get to, like, when you're just trying to, add followers or anything. I mean, I feel like social media, it's obviously super helpful and resourceful when it comes to building your brand or your business or anything like that. But it can be a pain in the ass to try to get things going. I mean, it took a while.
100%. And because there are so many different channels out there, I'm not sure if you've had a similar experience trying to grow the podcast, but there's so many different channels out there. It's easy to kind of spread yourself a little too thin versus what we've learned is it really helps to pick a channel or two, double down on that area, and put all of your eggs into one basket. I think you're going to have more success, picking a single channel and going after that versus kind of spraying and praying. That strategy does not tend to work out very well.
Oh, no, for sure. And that's why, because I mean, I have a TikTok for the podcast and I have a Twitter or X, like you said earlier. Yeah. But I would try to, at first I was like really good about posting on those, but then I was like, man, like it's just tough. So I was always, I would post like late on TikTok or late on Twitter. So now I just kind of strictly stick to Instagram. I'll still post every once in a while stuff on there on TikTok. But I feel like, Instagram is, I think, especially for like the beer community, the craft beer community, it is, I feel like there's a lot more people on Instagram than say like TikTok or something like that.
I think so. And especially, and we're trying to figure this out also, is like, where is our target, who our target market is, who is our target audience, and what channels are they on, right? Like I do kind of feel, to your point, like TikTok seems to be a younger audience. And like when you're talking about craft beer and we're talking about a product like Drinking Buddy, I think we're trying to get to a little bit older, more mature audience, and Instagram seems to be the place where they're at.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and like, even with people that listen to the show or anything like that, I mean, just like anytime like you have like that kind of community anytime I've reached out to someone, whether it's a, just a beer influencer or like, a brewery owner or anything like that, when you can talk to these people, everybody seems like they're really welcoming in that community too. So it might be really helpful, to kind of, to get into that, I guess, niche, I guess, in a way.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with that. There are certainly influencers out there, and I'm using air quotes, who they just want to take your money, and they've bought their followers, they buy their likes. It's crazy. But I feel like, to your point, in the craft beer community, it is more of a close-knit group, and people do want to help 100%. Each other out and promote their I'll say products, for lack of a better word.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's one of the, when you're talking to people like that, I feel like they are, like, most of the time, I mean, because I usually have a segment, and this is kind of like that, like I call this like an Instagram spotlight episode. So we get to talk about, talk with you and talk about your product, but when I'm talking to, other people, it's like also about the travel part too, like, going to different places, or if they're in Philadelphia or Miami or wherever, and you can tell them like, oh, you should go here, or you can go there. So it's nice to be able to hear about all the different places, and all of that sort of stuff.
Sure.
But that's why I love, the craft beer community, because they really open up and, give you new avenues to kind of find new things.
Right.
So I would definitely check that out for that. And anybody listening, go follow at the Drinking Buddy brand on Instagram. One thing, because when it comes to like hangovers and stuff like that, I've always, if I do get them, I don't get them as often as I used to. But now when I would do it, I would take vitamins. I mean, so now what happens? So with your product, what exactly, like, what does it do, like per se? Like how does it work exactly is what I mean to say.
Great. Yeah, great question. So that is one of the first questions that people ask. It's like, hey, what is it? What's inside of it? How does it work? And when do I take it? Right.
Yeah.
So if you look on the back of our label, you'll see different vitamins, herb extracts, amino acids, sodium, chloride, things like that. The heavy lifter in Drinking Buddy is this herbal extract called dihydromyricetin. And I'll try to keep this
Okay.
as like unboring as I can, talking the
No, you're
science
fine.
behind it. But it's dihydromyricetin, DHM. It's an extract found in the Japanese raisin tree, the vine tea plant. I think it's also in Korean pear fruit. Long story short, it's in a few different fruits and vines, leaves out there.
Wow.
Very popular in Asia. They've been steeping teas from the Japanese raisin tree, or making teas with it rather, for hundreds of years now. And anecdotally, they knew about the benefits for the liver.
Wow.
And so what DHM does, again, it's an extract from the Japanese raisin tree. And about 10 years ago or so, there was a study that came out and showed that this extract, it does in fact help your body metabolize and process alcohol's toxins. And that's what helps with the hangover relief. In addition to that, though, it can help protect your liver from alcohol damage, and even has been shown to repair liver damage from alcohol damage. So it's this really, really powerful, some people call it the antidote to alcohol, this really
Yeah.
powerful herb that only in recent years has been shown that, hey, this does in fact really help your body metabolize, process, and protect yourself from alcohol. So that's the main way that it works. You take it with your last drink. These are capsules. You take it with your last drink. A lot of times people say, "Oh, Brian, I don't know when my last drink is going to be. If I'm out at the
Hmm.
bar, whatever, how can I plan around that?" Is I keep it by my bedside table. And so right before I go to bed, I take 2 capsules with a glass of water, and I'm good to go. So that's like the 2 minute elevator pitch, if you will, of like what this is and how to take it. Yeah.
That that's awesome. And you know what I was just thinking about right now as you were saying that, like I was thinking like what could be like an opportunity is like because I know like the craft beer community, well the craft beer industry like in Austin I know is pretty big because you're from Austin, correct?
So I live in Austin now. I've been here for about 7 years. Originally from Dallas, but I've been coming down to Austin my entire life. I went to school down here in San Marcos, which is super close to Austin. But I think where you were going with that is Austin is definitely a craft beer scene. It's a drinking scene,
Oh
live
yeah, for
music,
sure.
party, 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 right?
Yeah, what I was thinking was like if because if do you guys have like the little like the 2 packs or anything like that? Because I know you guys have the like the there you go, perfect. I was thinking, yeah,
Yes,
if
we
you guys
do.
had
Yeah.
that uh at like breweries like and stuff like
Mhm.
that, like maybe because I mean there are I mean sometimes they, you'll see like breweries sell snacks and stuff like that, but if they had like a little pouch and a little thing there, and or $2 for a thing or whatever, and they pop that at the end of the night before they go home and good to go the next
Exactly.
day.
Yeah. I feel like there are so many different avenues and so many areas where Drinking Buddy needs to be, whether it's
Yeah.
in the 15 serving bottle that we have
Mm-hmm.
or the single serve packs. Um, the issue has just been, as I mentioned, it's my wife and I running this business, and we
Yeah, it's
both have
tough.
we both have full-time jobs. And so
Oh,
Drinking
gotcha.
Buddy today is just a side hustle. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's no doubt there's endless opportunities, endless places where we need to be. I mean, the single serves like you were talking about, this
Yeah.
this needs to be on the counter of every single liquor store in the country, right? Like
100%.
as you're checking out, just grab your drinking buddy, and you're good to go. There's so many opportunities. There's just not enough time in the day, but we'll get there eventually.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and that's awesome though, because I mean, yeah, that we're on the same wavelength there. I just felt like I was like, man, that would be perfect at a brewery, 'cause especially breweries are open late or bars are open late.
Yeah.
It's behind the bar. You can see that hanging up. You're like, oh, what's that? I mean, it's eye catching too, because I love your guys' logo.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like the colors, everything, it looks really great. Did you or your wife design it?
Yeah. So my wife actually has a an industrial design background.
Oh, nice.
She went to Notre Dame, and the job that actually brought her to Austin was with a furniture wholesaler, and her job was actually to design furniture for them. So she would go to Indonesia, India, Vietnam, all these places all around the world, and work with these factories to help bring her designs to life. So she has an impeccable eye for design and layout and branding. So we used her, obviously. We used some people from Fiverr, and then we had a
Okay.
couple friends here and there who kind of pitched in on the branding. But I appreciate that. I think we knocked it out of the park as far as the color scheme, the
Hmm.
branding, the colors. I think we did a great job. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean that. I mean, I love, like I said before, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke or anything like that. It is really eye popping and it is
Mhm.
catching. I mean, like it's eye catching is what I mean to say. And when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, that market, like just the packaging, just like I would always say about like as I'm gonna crack this beer open, like beer can artwork. It has to bring you in. You have to be able to see that and be like, oh, what's that? It
Mhm.
has to be able to catch your eye.
100%. And that's the same with when you're walking the beer aisle or walking the wine aisle, especially. I'm not a wine connoisseur. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying the label, when it comes to
Yeah.
wine. But yeah, for the beer, it definitely has to be eye popping and pull you in. And luckily, I think we did a great job. We did a great job with the branding. And not only that, you try the product, it works, and people are coming back and buying more, which is really, really exciting.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because I mean, like once you kind of find your hangover cure, it's kind of like it took me a long time. But I mean, because we all can't be like 20 years old anymore and just wake up and roll out of the bed and be fine.
That that's why we made Drinking Buddy. The older I get, the worse the hangovers are getting. I don't know when it happened exactly, but sometime around, age 25, 26,
Hmm.
I just stopped bouncing back like I used to. So,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, supplement responsibly. That's what I tell people. You take vitamins for this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
Uh, you should be taking vitamins when you drink.
Exactly. And I mean, and I love like because I was looking at some of this stuff obviously on the thing a while back. That's why when I first saw your Instagram, and that's why when I
Mhm.
added you guys. I mean, I was like, man, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like sounds like it's right up my alley because
Yeah,
I mean all the different stuff. But I mean, I love what it says. It says prevents the negative effects like of alcohol. Protecting your liver and your brain. No more painful mornings, anti-inflammation, and reduce
yeah,
anxiety. I love that.
yeah. Right. And anxiety is one of the big ones. I mean, I think most people have experienced the Sunday scaries, after
Oh
a night
yeah.
of drinking, and the anxiety. L-cysteine is one of the ingredients in there, um, and that really helps uh, with the anxiety, next day anxiety. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, man. I mean, and it's good because I mean, anxiety is a real mother effer.
It is, and it only gets worse after you've been drinking. So, yeah, I think we did a good job in crafting our formula together, for combating, like I mentioned, the DHM really helps your body metabolize. We have ginger in there for your stomach, upset stomachs, B vitamins to replenish those vitamins you're losing, sodium to do the same thing, prickly pear, ginger root. Those are major anti-inflammatories. Milk thistle. I think most people know the benefits of milk thistle for helping the liver. So we pieced together a great formula.
That's awesome, man. I'm super stoked for you guys, and I honestly just feel like based on just like everything, like everything you've talked about, the so far, and the packaging, like your guys' story. I mean, I feel like there's some big things coming your guys' way.
100%, yeah. And I guess this is a good time for me to throw my little disclaimer out there that I am not a doctor. Consult your physician before taking Drinking Buddy. We're not claiming that we can prevent any diseases or cure anything. But yeah, I think anecdotally, it works for me. People are reordering it. Yeah, it's a solid product for sure.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and you can get it on Amazon. So it's you'll have it in a couple of days.
Get it on Amazon. That's right, Amazon Prime. You can get it next day if you want to, and we should be. I'm not sure when this will be airing, but we're redoing our website, and that should be launching here mid to late October. DrinkingBuddy.com. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. I did want to ask because you said when you were in college, like your hangover thing was you said, was it called Resurrection? It was like a drink.
Yeah, it was. So that was the company that my dad worked for. It was called Resurrection. You could probably Google right now Resurrection hangover prevention drink. Yeah. And I'll just be blunt with you. Their marketing was terrible. It was we've talked a little bit here today about branding and having something that's eye-catching. Oh man, they I don't want to be too harsh on my dad and their company, but this was 10 years ago. I'm sure he'll get over it. It was just bad marketing in my opinion. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I remember I felt like around like the mid to late 2000s, there were quite a few like, oh, take this to avoid a hangover. And you would see them at places like Bevmo or like 7-Eleven or all that sort of stuff. But it would be like you have to take one after your first drink, one after your like second drink or third drink or whatever. It's like, this is easy. Like you can just take it at the end and, be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the challenges with this type of product is educating the customer on what is in here, when to take it, but you are 100% correct. I've seen other products out there where it's like, yeah, okay, you got to take one right with your first drink, and then in the middle of your drinking, and it's like at the very end, it's like,
how are you supposed to remember all that?
How are you supposed to remember all that? Yeah, whoever put those directions together, I don't think they've ever drank before, because that's not normally how you're scheduling out your drinking schedule of like, oh, I gotta make sure I take my whatever capsule after the fourth drink, and then the next one after my sixth drink. It's pretty wild.
And it's exactly, and like for some people, like you can have one drink and be okay, and then there's other people out there that they have one drink and they're floored. So it's like, how are we supposed to keep up with all that stuff?
Totally. Yeah. So we tried to keep it as simple as possible. Take it with your last drink. If it makes it easier for you to remember, take it just right before you go to bed, and you're good to go. Simple as that.
Awesome. What kind of drinks are you into? Are you into beer, or are you like a hard liquor kind of person?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like I'll say it's seasonal. Simply put, I enjoy drinking tequila drinks during the summer. Once it starts getting a little cooler out, whiskey and Coke. I ship to whiskey. I think if somebody was to ask me like, hey, what's your number one? What's your go-to drink? Ranch water has got to be up there.
Okay.
So, tequila, fresh lime juice, Topo Chico. It's simple. It's refreshing. It'll do the job. It's delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds super refreshing too. Because I love craft beer, and that's why I started this show to be able to talk about that with people. But like, there are times where you need to mix it up. You need something different. Like you need to have just to change it up a little bit, and that sounds like it would be a good one to have.
Yeah, that's an easy go-to just because most bartenders can make it. You can make it. It's very easy to make it at home. Um, Craft beers, though, I love a good Belgian. Like
Okay.
a Belgian, that style of beer. If someone put me on the spot that and said I could drink one type of beer until the end of time, a good Belgian. Uh, I feel like if I had that with like a charcuterie board, I'm in heaven. You know what I
That
mean?
sounds
Like
awesome.
that's perfect. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and that like charcuterie boards, like I feel like, and you're starting to see them more at, like at bars, especially with like kitchens. But I mean, it is like the perfect kind of food because like you're getting protein, you're getting also like with the crackers and stuff like that, you're whatever soaking up stuff in your stomach, hopefully, and then
Right.
you're enjoying, you get cheese and meat. Who doesn't want that?
Cheese, meat, and it's all salty and vinegary type
Mm-hmm.
of type of food that pairs perfectly um, with booze. I'm not a big sweets person. Give me the savory and salty. So yeah, I agree.
Same.
Yeah, a Belgian with a nice charcuterie board. I'm in heaven.
Can't go wrong with it. Are there any breweries out near you that have any good Belgians?
So one of the bigger ones out here. They're not in Austin, Texas, but they're just, Texas is a huge
Oh,
place,
it's a
right?
monster state. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, right. So, it's a short drive, in the town called Blanco, Texas.
Okay.
And it's, Real Ale. I'm not sure if you've ever heard
Okay.
of them. But Real
I don't
Ale,
think I
they
have.
make Fireman's Four is their big one of their most popular ones. It's a lager,
Okay.
an easy drinking lager. They also have a Lost Gold IPA, which is delicious.
That sounds delicious.
Another type of beer called Sisyphus, which I think is like a barley wine type style to where you actually could age it if you wanted to. And then my
Oh
favorite
wow.
from them though is Devil's Backbone. Real L Devil's Backbone. It's a Belgian style triple.
Oh, there you
Um,
go.
but it's not like too heavy like a Chimay or anything like that.
Yeah.
It is an easier drinking Belgian. It's heavy but not too heavy. That's one of my favorites out here. But we have Jester King, Austin East Ciders, Live Oak, Hefeweizen. Their Hefeweizen is a
Okay.
fantastic beer. There's a lot of good breweries out here.
Yeah, but I have a brother that lives out there. He's going to be moving out of Austin soon. He's been there for a couple of years, and he's always telling me about all the new breweries that are popping up out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. For a few years, and this was probably before that certainly slowed things down. But it
Yeah.
seems like there was a new one popping up every week. You know,
Wow.
yeah.
And that's awesome because it's cool to like to see all that stuff grow, and I mean and be able to see your business grow with that. Um, Definitely. I mean, because I have a full time job too, so I understand. Like it's tough because sometimes you do feel like you're stretched pretty thin. Because I'm
Yeah.
setting up recording dates, going over to breweries, doing all that sort of stuff. But I mean, it's what we love, right? So
Hmm.
that's why we keep on pushing through.
Right.
But yeah, one day I want to be able to walk into a brewery or walking into a 7-Eleven or a Total Wine, and I know I'm going to see some Drinking Buddy on the shelf.
Right on. Yeah. 100%. We'll be there.
Awesome. Are you because it being from so are you originally from Texas? Did you grow up there your whole life or?
Yes. So I was actually born in a city called Irving, which is right
Okay.
outside of Dallas. So I'm one of four. My older brother was born here in Austin. I was born in Irving. My younger brother was born in El Paso, and then my sister was born in San Antonio. And then
Okay.
after that, my parents moved back to Dallas, and they said, "We're staying here. We're not going anywhere else." So I'm a Texan through and through,
Okay.
raised in Dallas, and I I guess outside of that, I've lived in Dallas, I've lived in San Marcos, and I've lived in Austin now.
Okay,
Yeah. Hmm.
awesome. I mean, and because that anywhere near McAllen?
McAllen is a little further south,
Okay,
like
yeah.
closer to the border. Yeah, boy, I'm terrible with.
Oh
I
no,
want to
you're
say
good. The
probably.
only reason I was, yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah,
The only reason I was asking is because yeah, my the company I work for is based in McAllen in
got
Texas,
it.
I think. Yeah, I know it's somewhere. I don't know where. I've never been. I've been in California my whole life, but
Yeah, South Texas. That's all I could tell you. Yeah.
gotcha.
Mhm.
So being in Texas, are you a Longhorn or do you like college football or because I know football is king in Texas, right?
You're 100% right about that.
Yeah,
Football is king. It's pretty wild driving through some of these small towns on a Friday night. Like high
I
school
bet.
football, it really is. It's a religion,
Yeah.
and it's a big deal, and it draws a big crowd. So from high school, on through, I rooted for UT. I feel like when being in Texas, you either have to root for the University of Texas, UT, or the Aggies, Texas A&M.
Okay.
Like you just have to pick a side because your friends'
Yeah.
parents went to the one school or the other most likely, and they kind
Yeah.
of they forced your hand to pick one. Um, so I grew up liking UT. My parents actually went to UT Arlington,
Okay.
so I felt like I have had some sort of association there. I'm a big Cowboys fan, though. I
Okay.
like I like my Dallas Cowboys, Mavericks, Texas Rangers, and not the biggest hockey fan in the world, but I
Okay.
definitely like watching my Stars.
That's awesome. I mean, and the Stars, I feel like they have like even over the last like 5 6 years, they've been putting out quality teams and then making into the
Oh,
playoffs and stuff like that.
this past season, I was brokenhearted. They had a great chance to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals championship, and
Oh yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, it didn't make it. But they've had a great team the past few years.
yeah, and even the Cowboys. I mean, I feel like I know the Cowboys have had kind of up and down years in the past, to put it lightly. But I mean, I feel like their defense is second, like is just second to none right now. But I know they had a rough one
Yes.
against the Cardinals over the weekend. But I mean, that just kind of seemed like an anomaly kind of thing. But
I really hope you're right about being an anomaly because you're right. People were saying, "Oh yeah, this Cowboys defense, they're the
hmm
84 Bears or whoever you want to compare them to," and
yeah,
then they get smoked by the Cardinals, who, if I remember correctly, Vegas at the beginning of the season had picked them to be the worst team in the NFL this year.
yeah,
And then, Cowboys are going to cowboy. They go out there and they get socked in the mouth and come back home with a loss. I don't know. Maybe it'll wake them up. Maybe it'll jar them a little bit and stir them around, saying, "Hey, you guys better get back to work. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season." But last Sunday against the Cardinals, that was rough.
yeah. And I'm sure it was just a one-off kind of thing. But I think losing Trayvon Diggs too was probably a big factor into that because I mean, losing one of your star players, like as a team, you never want to see anybody, or as anybody, you should never want to see anybody get hurt.
Totally.
But it's just one of those things where it happens, and it maybe Dallas kind of believed in their own hype a little bit. They were like, yeah, it's the Cardinals. So I mean, it could have been that too, and because it happens all the time. I mean, people like you go into a team you're supposed to beat, and you overlook them or you play down to them, and then stuff like that happens.
Happens all the time. It's the NFL. If you don't bring your A game any given Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
you can get beat. Yeah.
100%. One thing my brother always told me about in Austin is breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
He says that like Austin's like the breakfast taco capital of the world. I was like, well, I love breakfast tacos, so I was like, well, I need to get out there
Yeah.
and try to have some craft beer and have some breakfast tacos. Are there any spots out there that you would recommend to anybody if they were going to be out there?
Well, I'm gonna toot my horn just a little bit to start off with.
Okay.
I make incredible breakfast tacos. They
Awesome.
are really great. Egg, cheese, and bacon breakfast
All right.
tacos. Mine are pretty great. So if you ever come down to Austin, yeah, get with me. I'll get you some. But outside of that, Torchy's makes a fantastic breakfast taco.
Okay.
And then there's this place close to where I live now called Taquerito, and
Okay.
they make a fantastic breakfast taco. But yeah, you're right. Austin does a hand when it comes to food, at least. They do a handful of things really well, and that's breakfast tacos, regular tacos, and barbecue. Those are our claims to
Okay.
fame.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite? Like, well, what kind of do you enjoy barbecue? I'm assuming being from Texas,
love
but
it.
I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do
Hmm.
you have a favorite a favorite barbecue dish? Like, you like beef ribs or like pulled pork, or what's Texas? What's like Texas kind of known for?
I feel like in Texas, it's all about the brisket.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be about the brisket. That's number one. I think from there, I'll give people some leeway as far as what they like. Texas is all about the brisket. Um, I have a different approach than other people. I don't think you need to be putting barbecue sauce on brisket. If you do,
Okay.
not a big deal. You do you. But I just eat the brisket as is, fatty brisket. Oh, so freaking good. And then from there, a good sausage, like a good jalapeno cheddar sausage.
That's all
And
me right there, man. Love
yeah,
that.
oh, so good. And then you hit the nail on the head. A beef rib, a good
Yeah.
beef rib. Oh, nothing better. It's really nothing better.
Oh yeah, brisket. I feel the same way too. I don't think you need barbecue sauce or anything like that. I mean, salt and pepper I know is also good, but is like the staple of like Texas barbecue, right? But
Right.
I love like salt, pepper, garlic too. When they kind of I've seen more rubs coming out
Hmm.
like that now with the
Yeah.
salt, pepper, garlic. Oh, it's so man, it's killer.
And I'll have to follow up with you on this one and send you a message after. But I've had three people in the last week tell me that there's a new spot in Austin that does Egyptian style barbecue.
What
And
is that?
I have no idea, but I just heard about this last week. It's brand new, fresh to me.
Wow.
Um, but it just sounds I don't know what Egyptian food is, but Egyptian style barbecue just sounds incredible. And
Yeah.
maybe I'll check it out this weekend. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you'll have to do like a review of it and send it me over the audio file, and then
Yeah,
I'll put it at the end of the episode.
perfect. We can make that happen.
Awesome. Oh yeah, because I'm trying to think of like what Egyptian style barbecue would be like, but yeah,
Yeah, I no freaking idea, but
yeah.
yeah, sounds good. It sounds
Oh,
good.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, um, I feel like when you people like into like Texas barbecue, I mean, like I just feel like there's just so like many different places out there, and like when I go, like that's all I want to eat is like breakfast tacos in the morning, craft beer in the afternoon, and then barbecue to finish the day. But I know
Mhm.
with barbecue, like for certain barbecue places, you got to be there early if you want to eat because the lines get crazy, right?
You do. So there's Franklin's, which is like
Mm-hmm.
close to downtown. That's where you really you gotta show up early. You're gonna wait in a long line. It's so worth it. Um, Terry Black's is another great
Okay.
spot to go to. I think I would say with Terry Black's, you could kind of go in quote unquote off hours and get some great, or get a shorter line.
Okay.
Um, Salt Lick, which is a little bit of a drive, about 40 minutes outside of Austin. And then this will be a little insider's secret for you, but
Awesome.
there's a food it's a food truck on South Lamar called Brown's Barbecue, and I don't know how they've stayed a secret for as long as they
Really?
have, but they're some of my favorite barbecue in Austin. Brown's Barbecue. It's a food truck off South Lamar. Incredible.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, because I want to try to get out there. I mean, my brother's moved. I think he's actually already moved now that I think of it. But I just want to go and visit for a weekend. And I've been trying to tell my girlfriend we can try to plan a weekend to get out there. When's the best time to kind of travel to Texas?
I was gonna say wait until it gets a little cooler,
Okay.
where things are starting to chill out a little bit. But we had something like 60 days straight of 100 plus degree weather,
Wow.
or temperatures rather. And it outside it was like 102, but it felt like 112, and it was
Wow.
just this is one of the hottest summers hands down that you know I've ever experienced in Texas. So come in the fall, um, during ACL, which I think starts next weekend, or maybe the weekend after that. ACL
Okay.
is always a great time to come down. It's usually a little bit cooler. And then South by Southwest. I'm not sure if you're a big
Oh, I
live
love
music
movies.
fan,
Oh, I love
but
movies. I know it's like it used to be a film festival, right? Or is it a
so
music
it's
festival?
yeah, no, it is. It's about a 10-day long event. And at the beginning of the festival, it's movies, technology, and then they have music going throughout the entire thing, but it's more of a focus on movies at the beginning. And
Okay.
then for the second half, it's just I don't necessarily want to call it a music festival. It's more of a music showcase. But
Okay.
that's when I love going. The city is electric. You can walk into any bar and you're going to hear some great music. Or if you don't, if it's not your style, just go next door, go to the next bar.
Yeah.
Um, but it's such a fun time to be in Austin, and the weather is usually pretty great around March when that happens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't they have? Isn't Austin kind of known for queso as well?
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know I'm dumbfounded when people ask this question, but I've lived in Texas my entire life. Like queso is just you put it on everything. Everybody thinks that they have their best homemade queso recipe, but
Mm.
yes, we are very much known for our queso, and you're probably going to ask for what the best queso in Austin is. They're
Oh,
all
no worries at
great.
all.
They're all great. You go anywhere, if they're serving queso, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be incredible. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't want to because I know it's getting kind of later over there. But I did. I don't want to keep you too long. But I did. There's a couple more things I wanted to ask you. Like, are there
Sure.
any other places? If people are going there, like maybe that aren't like the touristy spots, maybe they can find something off the beaten path. Are
Hmm.
there any other places in Austin that people may go?
Yeah, there's a couple that come to mind, and a few off the beaten path. So Austin really is. I call it. It's a big town, right? It's a city, no doubt, but it's not huge. So it's
Okay.
tough for any secret to stay secret for long. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say Barton Springs is a big one, which is a natural. It's a natural spring. It's a natural pool that has been blocked off. They've just turned it into a public pool. Barton Springs is a fantastic place to go and just lounge by the water, go swimming if you want to. Um, that's a fun spot. And then I would say bar or slash restaurant wise, most people go to like West Sixth, Dirty Six, Rainy Street. I'll give you a couple places off of South Lamar.
Okay.
The first one is Bolden Acres. It's one of my favorite bars to go to. It is on off of South Lamar, and I believe they just opened up a second location up north. I haven't been there yet, but this place is an incredible sports bar. They have indoor and outdoor seating, great food, um, and they have two pickleball courts in the bar,
Oh
which
wow.
is always cool to see a little pickleball tournament going on. And then in the same area, there's two other bars. One's called Black Sheep, um, and this is a little bit more of a divey bar. And then Corner Bar, which is just another short walk away from there, is probably like the diviest of divey, in my opinion. So those three bars, I'd say Bolden Acres, Black Sheep, and Corner Bar are some really, really cool spots that most people visiting are not gonna check out.
That's awesome, man. And I appreciate, you giving us like that kind of info, especially to be able to, for the listeners, if anybody wants to visit and when I get out there to be able to try all that good stuff, I'm really looking forward to it. But this has been really fun for me, and I'm glad we got to, sit down and have this conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate you reaching out. We'll get some Drinking Buddy in the mail for you so you can test it out, give it your review. That would be great.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I always want to promote, the kind of people that the hardworking people, for small businesses, because anybody can, talk about Walmart or Target or any of these other types of things, but I like to support, the companies that are trying, and then the people that are trying, that are working their ass off to be able to, to make something of themselves and want to continue to put in the work. You have a full-time job as well as doing that. I mean, that can't be easy, but you keep on pushing through because you love it. And that's why when I started this, it's like, if this can maybe motivate somebody to do something, or maybe listening to somebody's story, then I've done my job.
100%. It's always great to, well, first of all, I appreciate that because you understand just the grind and how tough it is to not just grow something, but set aside the time to make it happen, right? Like, I don't really watch Netflix anymore. There's not enough time in the day for it. So I appreciate that, and yeah, my hat's off to you for trying to grow your podcast as well. It's a grind, but as you've seen, day by day, you just keep putting in the work, and good things will happen.
100%. So yeah, everybody make sure we'll stay on and chat after. But for everybody listening, I just wanted you guys to know, follow at Drinking Buddy brand on Instagram. Go to their website. You can find them on Amazon. You can have them the next day. You can go out and test them out yourselves. Have a few drinks. We're not saying to get shit faced or anything like that. But just
please drink responsibly. Yeah,
exactly, 100%. Yeah, drink responsibly. Have a good time and be able to and be safe. Just make sure but if you're trying it out, I mean, I'm 99.9%. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 100% sure this stuff's gonna work out for you. And just supporting small business is what this country should be about.
That's awesome. Yeah, appreciate that. Well, thanks so much, Mike. This has been fantastic. It's been really great chatting with you, and we appreciate you giving us a platform to talk about our brand. This has been great.
Of course, and we'll have to do it again sometime. We can have your wife, Jacqueline, Mrs. Wilder, on the show.
Yeah, she would love that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll still stick around. Sorry you guys don't get to listen to this part, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Stay tuned for the outro.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, Brian's a really good dude. If you want to support small business, support, all like your local community, stuff like that, man. I mean, that's what, this is all about. Anybody, I mean, Walmart's, Amazon's, all this other stuff isn't going away. But, when you support small business, man, that means a lot. So, definitely go to drinkingbuddy.com, use promo code TAPROOM to get 20% off. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a good week. And you'll hear from me next week. Hopefully I'll have a funny drunk knob story to tell. All right. Take care, Tap Fam.